This kick can decide it all. The nation holds its breath. Yes,
Hi and welcome back to the podcast. Today we're talking about a 15-year-old called Melia, a forward from Wicklow who currently plays for St Patrick's Athletic. Mason comes from a footballing family and is the nephew of former professional footballer Clive Clarke, who previously played for various clubs in England, was capped for the senior Irish international team and is now a football agent. Clive's last game, unfortunately, was on the 28th of August while on loan at Leicester City, and during the game he suffered a cardiac arrest on the field. Happily he made a full recovery, but what must have been a trying time for the family as Clive's career hung in the balance took a turn for the good when the birth of his nephew happened just a few weeks later on the 22nd of September 2007, and that nephew was indeed Mason. So Mason started off at his local team, Newtown FC in Wicklow, where he played for the junior team, and then he went on to join Bray Wanderers, an established League of Ireland team, the academy there. And then last summer, so just July 22, he signed for St Pat's. Now he was only a 14-year-old, so it's not as if he was, getting on in years. And yeah, 14, amazing. But what was more amazing, on the 31st of January this year, he made his senior debut for St Pat's in the top division in Ireland. If you're from Ireland, you know. But St Pat's is one of the big Dublin teams, historically a big League of Ireland team. And at 15 he came on, so this January just gone, he came on as a 15-year-old in the 63rd minute in their fourth round match in the Leinster Senior Cup, and in fact went on to score. It was a loss, but he scored on his debut. It's always amazing when a player scores on his debut for a new club, but to score on your debut as a professional footballer, even more impressive as a 15-year-old. Yeah, very, very impressive. So in doing so, he beat his young teammate Sam Curtis's record as the youngest ever player to play first team football for St Pat's, and he became their youngest ever scorer at senior level as well. On the 15th of May, he made his league debut, so just a month ago. He made his senior league debut for St Pat's, again as just a 15-year-old, coming off the bench in a 3-0 win against Drogheda United. Currently, as of the date of recording, which is the 8th of June, he has made 3 appearances for St Pat's in total, all from the bench. No doubt by the end of the season, he'll significantly have increased that appearance tally and hopefully goal tally as well. We're only halfway through the Irish season, so he's played 3 times as a 15-year-old for St Pat's in his debut season as a professional footballer, halfway through the season. So again, you'd imagine that will increase. By the end of the season, we'll be looking at a much bigger appearance and goal tally, and hopefully he'll have started as well. Internationally, since 2021, he has represented the under 15s, under 16s, and now under 17s level internationally for Ireland, of course. He has played, he was part of the under 17s team that just finished up in the European Championships and who only got knocked out by a very, very talented Spain under 17 side in the quarterfinals, which was unfortunate because, they got beat by Spain. That's not unfortunate. Spain, very good side. So are Ireland, of course. But if they had got through into the semis, they'd have been in the World Cup as well, which would have been even better. But still, very, very, very good, impressive performance by Ireland to get to the European Championships and to get to the quarterfinals. Mason himself started all 4 games up front for Ireland in the under-17s European Championship, and he scored twice, both against Hungary in the group stages. I'm not 100% sure, but I think he was in fact the youngest player at those under-17s European Championships for any nation. His under-17s record for Ireland so far is an impressive 12 appearances and 6 goals, so he is fairly prolific, and he's only 15, so no doubt he will continue to progress through the underage ranks. Worst case scenario, which isn't a bad scenario, but worst case scenario, he'll be playing underage football for internationally for Ireland for the next 6 years. But of course, depending where and how his career progresses, he'll potentially be in the senior Irish setup before then. It's currently, as I said, mid-season in the League of Ireland. That's just for people outside of Ireland that might not know that. But the season has finished in the majority of the rest of Europe. So that's when people move and there's interest in players and bigger clubs are signing players. So what could the potential future hold for Mason amid an awful lot of interest from abroad? So far interest has been from Liverpool and Chelsea, various unnamed but quoted as top teams in Germany, and no doubt others elsewhere, all vying, other countries, top leagues, all vying for a signature. All of this before Ireland's impressive under-17s European run, so that would have been attended and watched and scrutinised by scouts from all over Europe. So no doubt there'll be even more interest in him now. Again, he started all 4 games for Ireland. He scored twice. And they only got knocked out by an impressive Spanish side. So, a lot of teams, a lot of scouts from teams across Europe would have been at all of those games. And not just for him, but we're only talking about him today. A lot of eyes would have been on him. So there'll be a lot of interest in him now. There already was, but there'll be even more now. So coming from a footballing family, his uncle being an ex-pro and current agent, his family and whomever else is advising him, he is obviously in a great position both on and off the pitch. If he was to move in the next month or two, he may go to a top team, but playing underage academy football probably there, which obviously would be a great move. But there is also a real willingness to stay at St. Pat's, and this in itself would be a masterstroke too, because as I said, he's involved in the senior setup now at St. Pat's, playing in the top division in Ireland. He's coming on, they're halfway through the season, so he could stay at St. Pat's, continue to get more playing time in the first team this season, then perhaps even stay another season and hopefully be playing regular or starting and scoring for St. Pat's first team week in, week out, which would only strengthen his bargaining power even more and go somewhere as a first team squad member, then into an academy, So, you look at the young lad that went to Udinese, he went from St. Pat's, I think it was around 700,000 mark was what was reported, euros. And although he hasn't played a lot, he has come on a bit and he's in and around the first team. So, that's a good move. It's only going to improve more for him. Something like that, perhaps, in the January window, which would be the off-season for League of Ireland this January coming, or again the following summer or the following January. Nothing wrong with going to an academy for a big club in a big league, but first team football minutes are what it's all about and invaluable to a player's development. But again, his family, his team, his uncle, they'll all know what's best, and and they'll know better than anyone what's best in general and specifically for him. He could hang on until he's 18, of course, which at present is the requirement to go to the UK. So that kind of rules Chelsea, Liverpool and whoever else in England is interested in him. The only exception to that really is if you have some UK heritage, which would negate that, and then you can move earlier. So, for example, if someone was born in Northern Ireland, or again, if they have a parent or a grandparent or somebody, with the UK. But either way, whatever the player and his team decides, there's absolutely no pressure or immediate time constraint on the player or his team to make a decision. Like any of the big teams, foreign teams in England, in England, they're going to be there anyway until he's 18. But any of the teams he's only 15, any big team in Italy, Germany, wherever, they're still going to be there in a year or two. 2.5 was when he turns 18. So they'll still be interested in him. And he'll have come on a lot way, so the competition in him will be even more. Again, whilst there's no pressure on the player to move, and the UK teams, again, they have to wait till he's 18. There is pressure on teams from, as we said, the reported interest is Germany's top teams, and a lot of players are going to Italy now, but you'd also include in that Spain and France. There's other leagues, good leagues in Europe too, but you'd imagine it'd be one of the four of them. But there is pressure on them because for them, they have a little sweet spot now to get Irish players before they turn 18, because they can't go to the UK until they're 18. But the minute an Irish player turns 18, then that opens up the UK market, which is a much bigger, richer, in general, market. So there's also like the financial pull, of course, of the UK, but also familiarity from Ireland to the UK is only right next door. There's the language, there's the big following English football has in Ireland, and as I said, the proximity of England to Ireland makes it a much more difficult for Italian, German, Spanish, French, whoever else teams to compete with UK teams, and then there's a more likelihood they'll miss out. But again, whatever happens for Mason, his future prospects are very, very good, no matter what he decides, him and his team, and what he does, which is again great news for the Irish international team too, of course, to have a great young striker coming through. There is one bad note for Mason, however. He's currently sitting his junior cert, so where he's going to have got the time to study and all the stress of that, I still have nightmares of me leaving cert. But there you go. He comes from a school called Clive Avon, I think. So you'd imagine it's a Gael school with a name like that. Maybe if it is, he's at least guaranteed an A in Irish. But anyway, hopefully he does well. But for Ireland and club level, and for the player himself, the future definitely looks very, very interesting and good. All the best. If you like the video, hit a like, subscribe to the channel, and thanks for listening.